Yeah,
30 seconds.
Yeah, 30 seconds. It's time.
Okay, everyone, welcome. It's 6 o'clock. Welcome to the Boca Raton Airport Authority meeting on October 20th, 2021, and we'll start out with a roll call of the members. So, Christine.
Mr. Now?
Here.
Mr. Tucker?
Here.
Mr. Noble?
Here.
Ms. Budd?
Here.
Mr. Vogel? Mr. Golden?
Here.
Mr. Pollock?
Here. Okay, and I understand, just for the record, that Mitch Vogel may dial in at some point during the meeting. The first order of business is approval of the minutes. We're looking for a motion to approve the minutes of the August 18th meeting.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion from Gene and a second from Melvin? No? Pollock? Okay. Any comments, any questions, any edits? Okay, hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None, unanimously approved. Ms. Bennett, is there any agenda changes?
No, sir.
All right. Public request. If any member of the public wishes to provide comment on any item, the time to do so is now. Please complete a public comment card identifying the item upon which you wish to be heard and provide it to Ms. Landers. The public comment cards are located in the back of the room. Each member of the public wishing to comment will be provided with 5 minutes to do so. The chair reserves the right to move the public comment opportunity on a specific agenda item to the point in the agenda that item is to be considered and/or extend the allotted time per speaker. So, Ms. Landers, are there any public comment cards?
Not at this time.
Okay. All right, we are very fortunate, as you can see, to have representatives of Civil Air Patrol with us here today. And that's great to see all of you. Welcome. That's fantastic. We appreciate that. I would like to ask Colonel Mike Harding if he could introduce the group and maybe say a few words. Thanks for coming again.
Again, my name is Michael Harding. I am the commander at the Boca Raton Fighter Squadron Civil Air Patrol. First, I just wanted to thank you all again for your continued support. I apologize I wasn't here for the last meeting. I'd actually been exposed to COVID, so I couldn't actually come face to face. But I believe that Scott did an excellent job rooting for our cause, and I believe we got approved. We have our checks, so I do again appreciate your support for fiscal year 2022. Those funds will allow us to pay for our hangar space and our meeting space and our utilities, which allows us to continue our mission in Civil Air Patrol, which is, as you know, emergency services, doing disaster relief, search and rescue, we do air interdiction with the Air Force. Also, we have a cadet program, which I'm sure you're all familiar with, and the impact we have on the youth, getting them motivated in aviation. And our third mission of aerospace education, basically educating the general populace on the benefits and importance of aviation, which again, I know is also a big push for you guys too, to make sure everyone knows how important aviation is, and that's definitely one of our big pushes too. So those contributions are being put to very good use, and I do appreciate all your support. I'd also like to announce that my tenure as commander has come to an end. As of October 1st, my tenure is over, and I'm being replaced with Lieutenant Colonel Jamie Leachy. Lieutenant Colonel Leachy is also a mission pilot, mission check pilot. He's been a squadron commander. He's also been the group commander of this whole South Florida area before. He's extremely experienced in Civil Air Patrol, and he's going to be taking over from me and we'll be continuing our missions and hopefully expanding on, trying to we talked about getting a mission base here in Boca and trying to do some other things. I'll still be around. I'll be helping out at the group level, but I'll also be here doing check rides and helping out as needed. Also, we'll be having a cadet change command. Our current cadet commander, Cadet Zhang, I don't see his space here, is being replaced with the cadet Chief Master Sergeant Kinney. Is he here?
No, he wasn't present.
Okay. They're busy doing their training stuff, I guess. So we also going to have a cadet change command also at the same time. So again, I just wanted to as a squadron, thank you all for your continued support and your generous donation. I also have a small token of our appreciation I'd like to present to the staff and the board members.
Yes.
Close.
It's not official if we don't.
Take your time.
And. we actually.
Another one?
Big check.
Probably no more situations, but, if you don't mind,
Absolutely.
maybe some of the board members would.
It means the cadets?
Yes, absolutely.
everybody.
Can come up.
Cadets in blue.
Yeah. And
And then maybe use.
I'm gonna take Merton and take this one, but.
Wow.
The big endorsement in the back.
That's cool.
And there's a little, Easter egg there with runway 523.
Oh, yeah.
Squeeze in.
Sign for the back. Off the back, sort of the front. I know, right? We can lower it.
I know, I should have worn heels too.
I was thinking the same thing. I guess that's the, exact amount of the, hanger pants. So, yeah. No, you don't often see a big check with weird numbers.
Get out of the way here. Oh, Scott, I might need you to watch your toes. Alright. Is everyone looking here? Alright. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, wait, I can't see your head right here. Back. Yeah, I want to make sure you're seen too, you know?
Yeah.
Alright, 1, 2, 3.
That's better, Scott.
All right, great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Yeah.
and thank you all for being here.
Thank you all.
Am I okay? Yep. Curly, do you bring no comments for everybody, or?
Yes.
Sure.
So, thank you again. When I was group commander, I was at the ceremony when the hangar was actually opened up for Civil Air Patrol, and we had the airplane there, and we all took pictures together, and it was a wonderful occasion. And the truth of the matter is that there's so many missions that are being run from this airport that you may or may not know what's happening when we're doing our stuff over there. I mean, we actually participated in the Puerto Rico mission back in when we had the big hurricane back over there. Actually flew from here to Puerto Rico and back. And I mean, we have done so much from this airport. I mean, Colonel Harding has done so much training out of this squadron, and it's benefiting everybody. I mean, Florida Wing has so many missions that we actually provide work to. And we save lives all the time. In fact, the squadron was actually awarded with one life-saving credit, was it 2 years ago? And the embarrassing part to the police is that they couldn't find the person that we actually found in 45 minutes. So, I mean, we do a lot of benefit for the community. The cadet programs is tremendous. And my daughter is actually part of the Space Force right now. She's an officer in Space Force. She was part of the Air Force, and then she was transferred, and she started with Civil Air Patrol. Not that means that everybody in Civil Air Patrol is going to be going to the military, but it's a hell of a building of leadership skill for cadets, whether they go or not, and even for us. I mean, for senior members. I mean, I have gotten so much better as a person because I am in Civil Air Patrol, and I appreciate what we do, and I appreciate what our country does for us, and I think it's very important. And truly important. So I do appreciate it. We'll be putting a second floor on the hangar next year. We'll be talking to you about that, but I mean, other than that, I think we're very thankful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, on behalf of the board, we want to welcome you as the new commander, and we want to definitely extend our thanks to Mike over the years.
We're actually going to be doing a change of command on the 4th. On the 4th. So that is the official change of command is already done, but I mean the ceremonial flag changing. And the flag changing ceremony, all of that is going to be coming up. So you guys are all invited if you want to come, and thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank
We
you.
want to thank you for all your help. Well, thank you for all your help. You are welcome to stay. It's a public meeting. You're welcome to stay as long as you wish. And with that, we'll move on. Yes, Scott?
Mr. Chair, I'd just like to point out that it appears we have Mr. Fogel on the line. Mr. Fogel, can you hear us?
Mitch?
Say hello, Mitch.
I think.
I'm here.
you're up.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
So,
Okay, great.
have all the board members. Okay. Very good. All right, our next order of business is the consent agenda. Thanks again, all. Ms. Ben, are there any items on the consent agenda?
No, sir.
Next up is federal, state, and municipal input. Are there any federal, state, or municipal issues?
No, sir.
Next is the financial report. Jade is at a training seminar, so Claire, will you make the financial report presentation? Or Randy, you're gonna kick it off?
Just, two things. Number one, as you recall, last August, because of the earliness of the September board meeting, the August financials were not finalized. There's been a couple of tweaks, so we're bringing those back in for final approval. And also, the September financials that we'll be talking about, represents our year end. They're not audited, however, they're pretty close. I mean, there'll be some adjustments from the auditor, but, as you see, we had another banner year, overall, when you look at September. So I think they're, again, a real good representation of what our auditors will end up with. So, Claire is gonna present as Jada is training. So.
Thank you, Mr. Treasurer and Mr. Chair. Yes, as was stated, the August financial report is available for your review. As of August 31, there were approximately $5.8 million in revenues, which represents an increase of about $1.1 million, or 25% due to budget. That's mostly as a result of fuel sales that exceeded our budget. And when Rob goes over the operations report, you can see how much stronger the fuel sales have been this year than what was anticipated given 2020's numbers. Non-operating revenues and capital contributions were approximately $400,000. This goes into our project accounts, and this is Airport Road and some of the other construction projects that we've completed over the last year. Operating expenses as of the end of August were approximately $3.2 million, which is a decrease of $1.1 million. Most of that is also related to projects. As you know, there are certain projects that are included in the operating account that traverse multiple years, but because they're accounted for in operating, it's sometimes difficult to predict when they will end. So there's about a $1 million swing in when those projects are completed based on the timing of those projects. With that, I'd like to present the final August report for your consideration, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Okay, so we'll look for a motion before we have a discussion. Motion? No?
Second.
And a second? Question. So questions or comments? Yes.
On the bottom of page 1 here, the control tower, up 93.7%. What changed there?
It's mostly work related to the weather systems that were impacted by lightning and some repairs that had to be done.
Also the new glass?
No, unfortunately, we're still encountering the same issues that we discussed. I think it might have been at the August meeting or September meeting regarding the sourcing. We have reached out to a number of companies, some of whom were referred by board members as well as others. And we're still working to that end. But this is normal repairs and things that break over there,
okay.
Some of which are related to emergency repairs that occur naturally in the summer.
I'm just curious. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
$25,000 to repair the weather system. Really?
I think you just signed that check, right?
You and Ben Franklin.
Yeah, this stuff is, not cheap.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, all in favor of approval of the August financial report, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay, unanimously approved. Next is the September 2021 financial report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As our Secretary-Treasurer stated, this is the last of the financial statements for the fiscal year that closed on September 30th. Again, similar situation with revenues that exceeded projections and budget, mostly because of the fuel. So about a 23% increase in budget of about $1.1 million. Non-operating revenues and capital contributions, these are the reimbursements, as I mentioned, for our projects were about the same as previous month. We didn't have any reimbursements that occurred in September. Operating expenses were a decrease of about $1.1 million, as I said, mostly due to the timing of some of those project expenses. And again, the air traffic control, you'll see that there were those expenses there, and then there was also the project that will be reimbursed through the CRISA Act that was completed in September. If there are any questions on the September report, I'd be happy to address
All
them.
right, before we do that, if we could have a motion or.
Motion.
Okay, and Cheryl, a second. Okay, now, any questions or comments on the September? Okay, hearing none, all in favor of adopting the September financial report, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimously approved. Okay, next is tenant reports and requests.
There are none.
And next is the noise abatement operation summary for the month of September. Robert Abbott is going to present today.
Mr. Newt.
We had an amended one, right, Robert? You gonna talk to that?
Yes. So, good evening. Before we do the operations noise abatement for the month of September. During the initial package, we did not have all the fuel numbers, so the packages that are laid out in front of you include the fuel numbers that we did not have before. So those are the completed, updated packages, and that's what I'll be presenting here as well. Okay. So during this month of September, there were 7,444 operations, which is a 38% increase from operations in September of 2020. It's also a 59% increase from operations of September of 2019. So the operation counts continue to go up. Jet A deliveries were up 56% from September of 2020, and they were also up about 60% over September of 2019. So those are the fuel numbers that we're talking about. Avgas deliveries have remained relatively the same over the last 3 years. If you've got them off, you're there. We did have 7 different households that filed noise during the month. Most of these were on aircraft against their arrivals for runway 5. We had a couple on touch and goods as well. During September, we also had 61 aircraft clearings for customs, which is up from 36 of last September 2020. It is down from September 2019, though, where we had 109 cleared. We did have 1 vessel clear as well, and we had arrivals from about 9 different countries. We also had 21 after-hours clearings during the month, and 15 of these did occur when the facility is normally closed. So that concludes the operations report for the month of September. If you have any questions, I would be happy to answer.
Any questions for Robert? Okay, seeing none, thank you very much, Robert. Appreciate it very much. Okay, next up is request to approve the public transportation grant agreement. And it's for equipment acquisition and safety enhancement. Travis is going to present.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The FDOT has been gracious enough to offer up a PTGA for us to acquire some new equipment. If you remember the last meeting, we discussed us taking over some of the landscaping duties in-house. This will afford us to do that at 80-20 share, depending on the project and grant. So we've already contacted several pricing and state contract pricing. Everything looks pretty in line with what we were thinking. And the project budget for this would be $100,000, the state share being $80,000, and our 20% share being $20,000. This should allow us to acquire any of the landscaping equipment in addition to some messaging boards for special events or say incident response, that type of thing we put out on Airport Road without having to rent them. So with that, Airport Management recommends resolution 102121 for the PTGA.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the resolution as
Second.
written? I missed the.
I'll make the
somebody
motion.
Randy made a motion, second, okay. Okay, any questions, discussions? Cheryl?
Can you refresh us on exactly what you guys will be doing and gals?
Yes, ma'am. I can also speak to that a little bit more in the next one coming up, about the landscape services contract. But basically, what we proposed was that when we released the RFP recently for the landscape contract, we broke it out into 2 parts, and had bidders on either airside, runways and taxiways work, and then landside for Airport Road and our offices. And then that way we could, if we wanted to award both or either or, and just kind of weighing out what the bids were versus possibly acquiring some equipment and doing it ourselves. And it worked out to, it kind of came in our favor to acquire the equipment and do it ourselves.
What is the it that you will be doing? Are you talking about
We will be
mowing lawns?
mowing and trimming all around the runways and taxiway systems. And keeping up with that wildlife hazard management program.
Is the 100 all equipment? Is that, I mean, that's essentially what we'll purchase? And does that just get, it's just an offset to the grant? Does that, that doesn't get then capitalized or anything? It just is, and we then own the assets,
Yes.
the equipment?
Yes.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay.
Otherwise, we would have to probably a budget amendment in order to
Right.
incorporate it into our operating budget and as a capital outlay, and purchase it that way. But with the funds becoming available, through the state, the $20,000 can be absorbed within our current budget.
And are these message boards similar to what we see like when there's an FAU game, things like that, where it's...
So the variable digital message boards we can program with pretty much.
Yeah.
Yes.
Those
Yeah,
orange signs you see.
Yeah, those are, because I know, having done that before, they can be very expensive to rent,
Yes.
set up and maintain.
We're able to direct people to the observation area when it's...
Bingo.
Or to our office.
Yeah.
Always just need to find it, as you agree.
And then so obviously in advance of an event, you would have time to program it and everything, but if there's like, an accident or something like that, you would have to, do you just do it remotely, or how does it?
Those are some options on the table for those. There's also you literally just open the cabinet up and program in whatever message you need to program, hit OK, and it'll send whatever you need to do, within the character limit.
And then you just kind of like tow them on the pickup trucks?
Yes, they're tow lines, and just set them up with a couple of outriggers and then put a tongue lock on it so they don't grow legs.
We have experience, we have experience with these from a previous life where we utilized them. Same concept, we acquired them through a grant and used them throughout the other airport. So I know Travis and his team are familiar with operating them, as is Scott. I'm not, but but they are.
And they're solar powered, so they
Oh, good.
They charge it up, yes.
Sounds like a good investment.
So if you have to estimate how many hours in a month you're adding to current job responsibilities, what would you say it is, and is it seasonal?
It's definitely seasonal. Obviously, in the summertime, rainy season is going to be a little bit more labor intensive, and then it kind of balances out over the winter months. Don't anticipate a great increase on things, possibly 20 to 30 hours a month.
Divided among 3 people.
Yeah, and the equipment that we're acquiring is substantially larger than what's previously been used out here, so.
Are they rider mowers?
The large, like a John Deere tractor with an enclosed cab, and mows about 12 foot each path kind of thing. So the amount of time needed to be out there actually utilizing it's going to be substantially reduced.
You see sweet corn popping up out there, we'll know what's going on.
John Deere's on strike anyway.
It might not be a John Deere.
Will we make those signs available to our tenants when they hold events?
Yeah.
We charge them.
Yes, yeah.
I don't know, it might have to be another.
Might not be worth the
Same thing with a very large fan,
We way to generate revenue.
Yeah. Well, the idea would be to put them in the the public right of way on Airport Road and on, areas that, it's to the good of the airport, so.
Yes.
Of course, straight ahead, that type of thing.
I am not necessarily opposed to this. I just think that we need to be careful in terms of rationale going forward in taking responsibilities that were previously paid for within the budget to outside vendors and taking those responsibilities in-house and distributing them to staff. Now, obviously, as CEO, you have made the determination that staff has the time to do that and they have agreed to do that, but that's really not what I'm talking about. I'm simply saying that from an objective perspective, what's to say then that we don't take, I don't know, do we have any outside other vendors that we use? Well, that would require some specialized training, but other types of things, in-house and saying, okay, we are going to cut the budget, because now that'll be $100,000 less that we're not paying outside, but we are using for equipment that does balance out, and all that makes really good sense, but then you're taking those responsibilities, you're adding them to staff, which will mean there's more that they have to do, so their job descriptions have changed. Granted, 10 hours a month is not some, I'm just saying from a long-term perspective, I just think we need to be really careful of that. And does that then mean that by adding that responsibility, that in some future life, when these positions are not necessarily held by able-bodied young men, that then the job descriptions as well, you as a candidate, as a disabled person, can't do that. I know that might sound like I'm being irrational here or taking it a step too far, but I just say a cautionary word about that going forward on other responsibilities.
Well, I would just like to add, I think one benefit to this is the fact that these people know how to operate on the field, and that's a special talent in itself, and that reduces the liability to the airport having that talent on the field doing those operations as opposed to.
And I don't disagree with that at all, but my point still stands.
I think, and we've gone through these deliberations over the last year or two, because part of the rationale, and we can kind of prelude the next item, which is the contract award for the landscaping services. We have had issues in attracting qualified, responsive, and responsible vendors to do the airfield maintenance, because it is a highly specialized requirement, and it does require the ability to operate within aircraft movement area and being able to have situational awareness and talk to the tower, operate around airplanes going at high speeds when you're operating out there, when you're mowing. So the last two procurements that we've done, which is in the last 10 years, we've received one bidder in both instances. That one respondent, the incumbent, had done a very good job for us, but unfortunately over the last, I think maybe year and a half or so, we have had a lot of issues with being able to maintain the quality that we're required to for safety reasons by FAA standards within the airfield. So when we put the RFP out for bid, we broke it out into two components: airside, which is the airfield, the aircraft movement area that we're talking about, the wildlife hazard issues, the safety issues, and everything outside the fence, which is landside. And in the RFP that Travis and Robert created, it was clear that we would be evaluating on either or both, and awarding on either or both, to give us that great flexibility. The only entity, the only company that had the experience to do the airfield is the incumbent, and we have already discussed, we've had some concerns with just the ability to keep up with the work over the last year and a half or so. So that's why the decision was made to bring it in-house. This is, again, most airports, at least that we're familiar with, do not outsource the airside for those reasons. Those are usually done in-house with airport personnel, because they have people who are trained, who know how to operate within the aircraft operating area, and you have greater quality control capabilities. So by breaking it down into those two components, we actually received five responses to the RFP. So we were able to open the pool to a greater number of companies that could do the land side work. So they were all highly qualified, and we actually got very competitive pricing as well. As far as the in-house capabilities, with the right equipment, I think Travis and his team feel that they have the capability and the bandwidth to do it. We also have a vacancy currently that we are sort of putting on hold while we determine, kind of how the team is working and how the capabilities are within the existing organizational structure. But we always have that capability of adding in, because we have that vacancy that's been approved, that was created when one of the operations coordinators resigned.
I understand all that. You articulated it very well in the background here, and you had mentioned it before. It's not a new topic to us. But still, I just caution you going forward as a matter of take outside vendors to bring it all inside. You need to think twice.
Yeah,
But don't disagree that in this case, it's probably the best thing to do.
Very good. Any other questions or comments? Appreciate that. Okay, hearing none, seeing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Unanimous. Thank you. Thanks, Travis. Okay, so we kind of already got into this a little bit. The next item is the specialized landscaping and maintenance contract award. So, and I understand we have Carmen and we have a representative from the landscape company on the phone. So Travis,
Yes, I'm
I'll
here.
leave it to you. Okay, great, welcome.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair. We kind of already touched on a lot of the things. Just a basic rundown is the RFP was out on the street and closed at the end of August, and Claire mentioned we had 5 bidders. Majority of everyone bid on both projects, but the option was to bid on one or the other if they wanted. When already previously mentioned, it was a very competitive bid. All the bids were fairly close with each other and offered pretty much the same type of services and breakdown, that type of thing, from very competitive companies that do a lot of municipalities, rights of way, also HOAs, large subdivisions, that type of thing. So everyone that bid was very qualified. After reviewing and ranking, pricing was one, but not the only contingency. So it came out that Landscape Service Professionals was ranked the highest of the bidders, and the individual on the phone, I believe, would be the Vice President, Carmen Byrne. Have any questions for the company? Might be able to answer anything for you. And before that, I can go ahead and read recommend the approval of resolution 102221, awarding landscape service professionals the highest ranking proposal for specialized landscaping in the amount of $47,940 per year. If you have any questions regarding the company itself.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion.
Second.
And a second from Bob. Okay, now any questions, and any questions of Carmen Byrne, the Vice President, if you have any on that? Okay, Carmen, we thank you for attending, so, hearing no questions, I'll take the vote, so all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, Carmen, congratulations, and we look forward to working with you.
Great. Thank you
See
very
y'all
much,
down.
y'all. Okay. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Travis. All right, next item is the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Administrator Contract Award. Scott, you're gonna present this one for us, Scott?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The board may recall around this time last year, they awarded the second and final one-year extension to the authority's current Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program Administrator, Dickey Consultant Services. So therefore, we released an RFP for a new provider back in September. That RFP closed in October, on October 5th, and we received one proposal from CNS Engineers. Dickey Consulting Services, the incumbent, did not submit a proposal. Now, in the past, the last time we put this out on the street, we only received one proposal as well. The time it was let previously, there were a few more companies that submitted proposals. However, they're no longer in business in the state of Florida. CNS Engineers has done work for the authority before as part of the sound installation process. So their proposal was deemed responsive and responsible by the authority and legal counsel. The pricing, you may notice, is a little bit different than what we've seen in the past. Previously, the proposal had it as a not-to-exceed amount for each year to maintain both the program and administer the various projects. CNS is proposing a slightly different strategy with that. You'll notice that the earlier years are a little bit higher than some of the interim years. That's because that accounts for program development and developing all the goals and everything, whereas some of those middle years is just maintaining it, submitting the required reports to the FAA. And then there's a separate hourly rate for any additional services for project-related reviews and monitoring that we see throughout the capital improvement program. So Airport Management recommends approval of Resolution 102321, entering into an agreement with CNS Engineers Incorporated for Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program Administration. And we do have Lisa Howard, the CNS Engineers. She will be the program manager on the phone if you have any questions for her.
All right, if we have any questions, Lisa, you're on the phone, can you hear us?
I am, thank you.
Great. You heard the recommendation, so I'll look for a motion first and.
So moved.
Okay, Jim, second. Mel, okay, so now, questions and comments. Mel?
Yeah, I have a question. I see the pricing going over the first 4 years. In year 5, there's a very substantial increase. And I was curious about that.
And Lisa might be able to speak to this in a little more depth, but there is a cyclical nature to the DDE program and the reporting for the FAA. So once you establish the program, it's generally good for 3 years, and then you have to reestablish a new program with new goals and take into account any new upcoming CIP projects that have been added. So that's why it's a little bit more at the back end, because they'll basically be restarting the program.
It's the end of the cycle.
I got it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Makes sense.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions? Okay, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, unanimously approved. Lisa, thank you very much, we look forward to working with you.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you. I look forward to working with you.
Okay, next item is the cancellation of public transportation grant agreement for the financial project on the relocation, widening the taxiways and relocation of taxiways, B&C. Robert Abbott?
Robert, you're going to present? Yes, sir. Thank you. So, yes, like you stated, back in December of last year, the Airport Management entered into a PTGA with for the Department of Transportation. This was in the amount of $125,000, which was a 5% match for the FAA 90% grant for the project. Due to increased funding from the FAA, the 90% match has actually been up to 100%. So now the 5% FDOT grant is no longer applicable to this project. So with that, Airport Management recommends approval of resolution number 102421, authorizing the cancellation of the public transportation grant agreement with the State of Florida Department of Transportation for the widening taxiway contract for relocation of taxiways Bravo and Charlie project.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the cancellation?
So moved.
Okay, and Cheryl, you want to do second?
Sure.
Cheryl, second.
I have a question.
Any questions? Yes, Mel?
Go back 2 sentences on the FDOT pulling out. That's, I didn't understand that.
Yeah, so the FDOT is not pulling out. What's happened is, so it was a 90% FAA grant, and the FDOT matched it with 5%, and we were going to match with 5%.
Got it.
The FAA has actually given us the grant at a 100% of project cost. So now the 5% FDOT is no longer needed for the project. So we are going to just cancel the grant agreement with them.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely to our advantage, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, very good, yeah. Okay, any other questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you very much, Robert. I think we have one more for you. This is a public transportation grant agreement for the State of Florida Department of Transportation for landslide lighting.
Landslide.
Landslide. No landslide.
Landslide in Florida.
And signage replacement at the airport. So, Robert?
So back in 2019, the Airport Authority had entered into a PTGA for the landslide lighting and signage replacement grant, which is part of the overall Airport Road project. So it's currently underway now. Because of some material acquisition delays, mainly due to FPL, and material that we can only get from FPL, the project, that portion of it is going to extend beyond the current grant expiration date, which is December 31st of this year. Also, we've been working with FDOT to extend the grant, and they've agreed to that as well. So we'll be extending it to June 30th, 2022, which should put it past time when we would So with that, Airport Management recommends approval of resolution number 102521, authorizing the extension of the public transportation grant agreement with the State of Florida Department of Transportation for landslide lining and signage replacement, June 30th, 2022.
Thank you, Robert. Looking for a motion to
So moved.
extend.
Second.
And second, no? Question, so where is Florida Power and Light now? So you say are we on their schedule now, or is it starting to move forward again, or?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Scott may be able to speak more towards the actual deadline that they're working on.
Certainly. There's two portions of the FPL work. One is the replacement of the lighting, the light poles, new concrete light poles with LED light fixtures. That process is going to begin next week. They're delivering the poles, and then they'll set them. And then the big part of it, which we're on the clock for already, we submitted the required easement paperwork for the undergrounding of the power lines last week, so that puts FPL on the clock. Generally, they tell you 6 to 8 weeks minimum. Of course, with FPL, particularly during the storm season, thankfully it hasn't been too busy for us. You never know when they're going to have crews available. So with the 6 to 8 week, they'd be starting just as its original PTGA would be expiring. So to give us a little more buffer and to accommodate any work that goes beyond, we're getting this 6-month extension, which should be more than enough time to complete all the FPL work and the other items associated with that particular schedule.
So this was an example kind of the supply chain issues that we've all seen and experienced.
Oh, yeah.
Correct.
Welcome to the
Probably,
club.
yeah, on a barge off in California somewhere.
Okay, very good. Any other questions? Okay, all in favor of the extension, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. And the next item is the status of the 2022 meeting schedule, which was in your board package.
Already?
So, Claire, you want to talk to that one, I guess?
Certainly, yes. We're required to post our schedule for the coming year and the location, which the board has concurred that the meetings will take place here going forward. That I think has worked out well.
Yes.
And it allows for greater tenant participation, I think, which is a very important part of the meeting process. Christine has reviewed all of the dates for the regularly scheduled meeting on the third Wednesday of every month, and they don't appear to be any conflicts. The only one that the board may wish to look at is the December meeting. It's a little bit later in December. It's on the 21st. In the past, the board has either moved the meeting or rescheduled it for earlier in the afternoon. So that is certainly in you have the ability to do that if you wish. And if you see any other potential issues where we may have to, may risk a quorum going forward, the bylaws do allow for you to change those meeting dates as needed. So please take a look at those and let us know if you have foresee any issues or to the regular meeting schedule.
And we can change that during the course of the year, too.
Correct, yes. It doesn't happen very often, but you certainly have the ability to do that per your bylaws with appropriate notice for those meeting changes, yes.
Good. Any comments now or questions on it?
Another year.
Another year going by. Do we need a motion, or is that
No, this is
sufficient?
informational.
We have, information, okay. A consensus there. Public comment. Cards for public comment? Any other business to come before the board? Board members, now's your time. Yes, Gene.
I'd just like to point out that the Boca Historical
Hysterical Society?
Yeah. They have spent a lot of money redoing the old city hall, and now it has a new name, as a matter of fact, thanks to a contributor. And they have in certain sections, and they have one particular one on Boca's effort in the war, which the airport obviously is a big player. And then they also have one on IBM, which many of us were still around for at that time. So that comes up it's opening next month, and so hope you all get down and take a look at it.
And
All right.
in fact, if I may, Mr. Chair, thank you for bringing that up, Mr. Folden, because we are a sponsor.
Yep.
And so we are actually, are sponsoring a wall, or a decade in their decade wall. So we chose the 40s because that was appropriate for the war effort. I haven't been over there yet, but I know they're having an event next week that I would like to participate in, just to see how it will look with our name on the wall.
Are they doing a grand reopening?
They will be announcing that, yes, yeah.
And, looking forward to attending the FAU tailgate on November 6th.
Oh,
as the
yeah.
Owls take on the, Marshall.
The Thundering Herd.
Thundering Herd.
Marshall.
Think for a second there.
Truck.
Yes, this was an event that we started in 2019, and it was very, very successful. We partnered with Habitat at the time, so thank you again for bringing that up as well, Mr. Tucker. It was a wonderful event. I think it's also our tenant appreciation event. I think for that last one, we had maybe 85 people attend and went to the game with us after our tailgate, and so I know Vanessa and Christine have been working really hard on it, so Vanessa's taken the lead this year, so please let us know if you intend on coming. This year, we're very proud to partner with Vets Helping Heroes, which, as you know, our immediate past chair, Mr. Pollack, has been very involved in, and you're the chair of that group, correct? The president of that group?
Volunteer.
Well, probably put in quite a few hours, so we are showcasing the charity and providing them with our donation as well, and so it's part of the Veterans Day activities here locally, and we're just really proud to be a part of it. Thank you for letting us do that, and we hope that our tenants and you as board members can join us that evening. It's on a Saturday, and it's evening in November, so it should be a little bit cooler than the last one, which is in September, so we're excited about that and appreciate Vanessa's work on it.
Along those lines, I want to add something. As you know, the charity Vets Helping Heroes, we provide service dogs free of charge to honorably disabled veterans. And we offered Clara the opportunity to name two, one for her father-in-law who was a veteran, and then we asked the staff to name a dog for the airfield. Don't say what. Can anyone guess what name they came up with?
Clara.
Nice doggy.
How about Piper?
Good girl.
No. Closer to home, think of Area 51, World War II,
Roswell.
Radar.
Oh, I love it. Good. So we have Radar in honor of the Air Base, the Radar Training Field, and Charlie in honor of my late father-in-law, who's a World War II veteran.
That's great.
Good. I told Lisa at the charity, that's actually the coolest thing that's happened to me all year. I don't get out much. It's actually a really cool thing, and we're really thankful and appreciative to participate in it, and I think it's going to be a great event, and looking forward to it, and hopefully we'll get to meet the puppies.
And you were at the ice cream social, that was an event.
That was great, yeah, appreciated that. That's always nice, too.
That's great. And Mitch, you're still there? You have any comments?
Nope, I wish I was there with you guys tonight. Sounds like you had a good time.
Yeah, stay safe. All right, hearing no other comments, the next meeting is scheduled for November 17th at 6 p.m. right here in the Airport Authority Board meeting. So with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
A motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Meeting